The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the producers and the individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff of the Sun Prairie Media Center, its members or underwriters, the board members of the Media Center Commission, Charter Communications, TDS Telecom, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit. The man sitting next to me has never brushed his teeth with a potato. His name is Mike Roth.
That's not true.
Oh,
Sorry.
change my facts.
Yeah, toothpaste, potato.
Yeah,
Works well, yeah. You've never done that?
I
As a
have
kid.
not.
It's a pastime.
I mean, I heard rumors that you had done it, and I was like, that can't be. I'm gonna debunk these rumors.
No.
Wow.
You can stop that.
All right.
Potato and toothpaste. It's how you do things.
You know, when you're camping or just at home.
It was at home.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you The best. So this week I feel like is the week in between massive blockbusters.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's our summer, we're in the middle of July, but it's surrounded by huge movies like Spider-Man and Toy Story on one end.
But usually when people do this, it's really bad movies, and they're like,
Yeah.
no one's going to watch these. We're going to
Right.
release these now and get our tax rebate
And that's
for
what
a
I was
loss.
worried about.
But I was happy with what we had. They weren't miserable.
Mike's already giving you a spoiler
Sorry,
for what's
I
to
mean,
come.
I didn't say that.
Stay
Watch
tuned
the
to
show.
find out. But first, I'm going to get us into our streaming spotlight this week. We have a new film on Netflix. It is called Point Blank from director Joe Lynch. Stars Frank Grillo as a man named Abe. The movie has this great opening, too, of Abe. He's on the run after a heist. He's about to meet up with his brother, Mateo, who's like a getaway driver.
Mhm.
And then he gets hit by another car, and, people are after him. He's not a good guy. Abe's not a good guy.
No.
And he is left for dead. He's taken to the hospital. He's in the hospital. They know he's under police custody. It also stars Anthony Mackie as Paul, and Paul is the ER nurse in charge of Abe's care. And people want Abe dead, and people are showing up. Paul has to fight off a guy in the ER who's trying to finish the job, and now Paul is a part of all of this chaos. His pregnant wife, played by Tiona Paris, is kidnapped by Mateo in an effort to get Abe sprung from the hospital and the police. I'll give you your wife if you give me my brother type situation. And now everybody's after them, including Marcia Gay Harden, who is the police lieutenant, who is actively searching these guys down for reasons.
She doesn't. It's not something that you want her to find. This movie, really, everybody is a bad guy except for Paul and his wife.
Yeah.
You're supposed to kind of warm up eventually to the criminals,
Yeah.
but they're really bad criminals.
Right,
And
exactly.
you got to turn on a dime pretty much, and all of a sudden go, oh, these guys are not
they're
that
fine,
bad.
I guess. Yeah, that's the thing. So this movie it's based on this legendary movie.
Point blank.
Point Blank. Yes, it is. It was a Brazilian movie, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it's been remade a couple of times. The problem I have with this movie is like it feels like in the middle, just everything stopped for a while. Like nothing really happens for a while. Action kind of stalls out. It's a lot of Marcia Gay Harden.
Yeah.
And this isn't like her best work.
I feel like they had to kind of develop the characters a little bit so that the turnaround might be a little bit more believable.
Yeah.
I did like the cinematography.
Yeah.
The way they shot this movie was pretty good.
There's a really cool scene at the beginning where Paul is loading up his medical kit. He's in this room, and it's a 360-degree pan as he's going back and forth across the room, grabbing things. Like, well, that's a nice shot.
Some of the shots, like in the pawn shop and throughout the movie, I enjoyed what they were doing. They weren't just saying, here's a scene, so let's shoot it. It looked like they wanted a little bit of creative process to it. I like the darkness, but everything wasn't totally blanked out with darkness.
Sure. Yep.
But the story itself, that one was the weak point of this movie.
Yeah.
We were introduced to a guy named Big D, that he was a little bit of a comic relief, and I appreciate his love for cinema. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But really, I think he was just a diversion from kind of a bad story.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I feel like this this cast, it's a really talented cast.
Yeah.
And it is based off of a really good script. I feel like they really watered it down for this American version of it, and I feel like there was just a lot, just kind of focus was on the wrong thing.
Okay.
Is what I think. I don't know. It just I was having a hard time staying fully engaged with everything because it felt like you said, like I know where they want me to go with these characters and how they want me to feel.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time getting behind some of this though.
It's some of the motivations behind these characters became really weird.
Yeah.
And it was all to get us to like certain people that should be unlikable.
Yeah.
They should have been just comfortable with us not liking it. And
That would have been great.
Movie.
I love that.
Yeah. Too bad we're not writers.
That takes some guts though. You know, to be like, you know what? It's fine if they don't like the guys who are supposed to like. You know.
Well, great film usually takes guts.
It does.
Yeah. And they kind of just wanted to say, no, we don't want anybody to leave unhappy. So let's make a bad, well, not a bad movie, but a less than great movie.
What did you give Point Blank?
I give it 3. I did enjoy myself. I'm not going to remember this movie long.
Yeah, no, you will. I'll mention this title at the end of the year, and you'll be like, which one was that?
Yeah. Is that the one with Keanu Reeves?
That's Point Break.
Oh, Point Break. Oh, well.
There's already been a terrible remake of that.
Yes.
That was awful. I gave this, you talk about forgettable, I gave it the forgettable score of 2.5 stars.
There we go.
It's meh.
Yeah.
So.
But that's the only thing that's new this month or this week for Netflix.
That's
and it was dry for quite a while. They didn't have anything last week.
But this is what we got. So, anyways, if you like Anthony Mackie in the cast, give it a watch. You know, you're folding laundry, throw it on in the background.
Nice.
Let's take a look at what's on the marquee this week, sir. What's the first film you have for us?
I have a movie I was looking forward to for a while. It was produced by Sam Raimi, who's one of my favorite directors. But this isn't directed by Sam Raimi. This is directed by Alexander Aja. We're talking about Crawl. This is the new monster movie that's out. This takes place in Florida. And our main character, Haley, played by Kaya Scodelario. She is a swimmer and a little bit estranged from her family. She finds out that her sister is a little bit concerned. Tried calling Dad. There's a Category 5 hurricane coming into Florida, and he hasn't been picking up his phone. So Haley goes in to find her father, Dave, played by Barry Pepper, to make sure he's okay. And guess what? A good monster movie. He's not okay.
Yeah, right.
He is stuck underneath the house. He was working on some stuff.
This maze of a crawl space.
A maze of a crawl space, which we're going to get into the reality a little bit later, I'm sure. And the water starts coming in, and there's huge alligators all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, this is all supposed to be a fun, kind of Sharknado-type believability. But all the characters are super, super serious. So it's kind of hard to get into the fun of how unbelievable this movie is when everybody is taking their roles way beyond seriousness.
Yeah.
And that was my conflict. I had some fun, but there's sometimes where I'm looking at like her hanging on to a aluminum gutter, and the flow of the water is so much that it can't hold back alligators, but it does her just fine.
Sure.
Or climbing on a shower curtain rod.
That's
a full body weight.
There's a lot of that in this movie that I'm like, oh. So, I mean, the thing that kind of drove me nuts, too, is the script is so cookie cutter. But, you know, it's you said so much time in the beginning hammering home, like, she's a swimmer.
Yeah.
She doesn't give up. She's a swimmer. She could hold her breath for a long time. You know, her dad keeps calling her you're an apex predator. All this stuff, like, okay, I get it. She's a trained swimmer. You know, she goes to find her dad. The hurricane is on top of them, basically.
Oh, yeah. And the hurricane's
she's
unbelievable.
searching for her dad, but she has time when she walks in the house to stop and look at her old swimming trophies and have flashbacks to her childhood. Your dad is missing and there's a hurricane on top of you. And she's like, oh, these old gems of my childhood. Stop. But anyways, you get into the crawl space, you get the alligators.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about this movie, and normally I don't,
Uh-huh.
everything in this movie explodes into scene. We have a tree that comes through a window, just
Oh, yeah.
explodes through the window.
Yeah.
Alligators just explode onto scene. I kind of dig it because I got a few good jumps out of it.
I enjoyed the feeling of the tornado or the hurricane coming in. Everything is gray. Everything is wet. I got that feeling of, maybe being cold and warm and uncomfortable and dirty, very dirty.
Right.
But some of the unbelievable scenes really threw me off.
She has a shower door. It's in the trailer.
Yeah.
That shower door, my son had a shower door break on him recently. It would not have held an alligator beating against it. I know that.
It's held by caulk, right? Pretty much just caulk.
And it's just tempered glass.
Yeah, and that's not the only thing. Like you mentioned before, this crawl space. These homes, and we see the home. Yeah. It doesn't have that big of a crawl space.
That's what I thought. Like, wow, it's a massive footprint, and then you see the house.
She goes down into this crawl space to find her father, and to get that feeling of claustrophobia and dirt, she's on her belly crawling through, and then literally later, she's running through the crawl space, just hunched down a little bit. It's like, what happened here?
Well, and we find out that there's multiple alligators in here.
Oh, yeah.
Got a bunch of gators in here.
Oh, yeah.
Chewing on people. And I mean, the first time we see an alligator, we see that they're safe. They get behind where some of these pipes are in this crawl space. That this first alligator we see can barely just not fit. But then we were revealed that we have alligators of all sizes.
All over the place.
There's baby alligators, but they can't fit under there?
This movie's like Piranha, but with alligators.
There's gators and the gators are ravenous.
Yeah.
Everywhere. There's gators, and they just want they're bloodthirsty for everything.
They have to be because they don't know how to swallow. They bit her horribly. A death blow. Yeah. Good 3 times.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is not going any no, it's a flesh wound.
Yeah, I mean,
you just dragged her 100 feet across this huge maze.
There's a few of those. Barry Pepper gets a couple of those too. I mean, gators are just appearing constantly. There's so much stupid in this movie.
There is so much stupid.
But you know what?
Yeah, it does. It really does. I wish the characters were a little bit more slapsticky like the rest of the film.
Sure.
And that would have made it a perfect gem for me.
The tension was, I like the tension in this movie in the way that these aren't made up monsters. No. These are creatures that are here that are in real life right now are showing up in places that they don't belong because they're being pinched out of places that they do belong. And so we see things like alligator showing up in somebody's bathtub, whatever. But the last 15 minutes of the movie were laugh out loud for me. Like there's the moment where Barry Pepper's yelling at her like, "You're the apex predator. You swim faster than these animals that have spent tens of thousands of years swimming in water. You're faster than them."
His leg being snapped in half, and he wasn't even conscious because of it. And then later on, he's just walking on it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's snapped in half. We had a scene.
He put a wrench on his leg, so he's okay now.
Yeah. Unrelated, I've been noticing more snapping turtles around here. They're big. They're huge.
They'll take your arm off. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not gators.
Yeah, in this movie, it's kind of what I wanted out of it, more or less. It's fun. I agree with you. I wish they would have leaned one way or the other a little more, go all in with one or the other.
Yeah.
Because the moment when Barry Pepper as a dad is yelling at her you gotta do this, you can outswim him. This is what you've been practicing for. This is why we were hammering home the points in the beginning of the movie. You're faster than alligators. I literally laughed out loud in the theater. Caught myself
she was
so
fast.
stupid.
She was real fast.
She's outswimming gators that are coming from all directions.
Yeah, and they're missing their spot. It was crazy, but she was great.
Funny though, this movie broke even in its first week.
Oh, here's cross promotion for people who don't care. Afterwards, I ate alligator bites over at the Tipsy Cow. So if you want some alligator right after you watch this movie,
I sure do love some gator.
Just go across the street.
Some delicious gator. What'd you give old Crawl, sir?
I give it a 3. I enjoyed myself. I will probably remember this movie, but it is stupid. It is stupid.
We don't get a lot of good alligator movies.
No, we don't.
Other thing, I love their choice of music in the credits. You get see you later, alligator.
Yep.
Come on, that's
pretty
beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
It's fun. Like, what do we got? We got Lake Placid. What else you got for alligator movies? Nothing good.
Oh, there's those B movies that they play on sci-fi. Those really late ones.
This is a good one. I agree with you. I give it 3 out of 5. It's fun enough. I'd probably check this out again.
I will probably check this out again. I doubt I'll ever think it's a smart movie, though.
No chance. The next movie we have on the marquee this week, sir, is a film called Stuber from director Michael Dowse. It stars Dave Bautista as a man named Vic Manning. Vic Manning is a cop whose partner is murdered in front of him by this criminal they've been tracking, Okatejo, played by Iko Uwais, who is one of my favorites.
You are a champ at reading
so
names.
Good. He's one of my favorites. He's in the Raid movies. He's great. Anyways, Vic Manning gets obsessed. He's watched his partner get killed in front of him. He gets obsessed about taking this criminal down. It's the typical story where he's placed on leave to get his head straight, right? And while he's on leave, he goes and has laser eye surgery. So the events of this movie he can't see at the beginning. He's also nothing prototypical about this. He's also the cop who has a strained relationship with his daughter. You've never seen this story before.
Yeah.
So he gets a lead on the day that he has his laser eye surgery about Okatejo. He's blind, so he gets an Uber and forces the driver, played by Kumail Nanjiani, to take him from lead to lead as he's trying to track this guy down. Kumail has his own issues, particularly with his relationship with his girlfriend, but also
he needs 5 stars.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get hooked into all this, but he's afraid of not getting a 5-star rating as an Uber driver.
Well,
it's a weak premise.
He could lose his job, and he needs this job if he.
This is the premise, though. Of like, I had to remind my friend that I saw this with. It's like, remember, all this is happening because he didn't want to get a 4-star rating.
He didn't want to get fired.
So
I've seen people do real dumb things because they thought they were going to get fired.
From here, though, it gets better. I think the chemistry between Kumail and Dave Bautista is really fun.
Oh yeah.
I think that they're a really good time. Kumail in this movie, and I think in everything I've seen him in, really raises the bar of the script. The script is kind of hokey, I think. It's standard.
It is a very standard action movie, and then you throw a normal guy in it.
He plays the normal guy who doesn't want to be here. Yeah. And I love that even throughout the movie, you would expect him to be like, all right, we bond. And kind of almost turn into a buddy cop movie. Yeah. He's still like, no, you're a terrible person and an awful cop. But his comedy is great. Probably like in weird moments, even as the scene is like fading out, it'll have a joke at the end that, I was laughing out loud in this movie.
There was a lot of funny scenes. And I generally liked this movie all the way through. There was a low point where I was getting kind of tired of the shtick around the time where they went to the sporting goods store. Yep. And that was a lull, but I eventually got back into the movie. Sure. The chemistry between Dave Bautista and Stu was fantastic. I love his jokes. I love how this could have been a cookie cutter, average.
Oh, you got there's a dirty cop.
Yeah,
everything. It's everything
Strange,
that you know from these movies.
Yeah, and then you just throw a normal guy and a lot of promotional advertisement for Uber. And and it worked.
I wish that they would have used Iko Uwais more as the villain.
He was fantastic. He's
great.
A great fighter.
He's like the best that we have right now as far as martial arts. I wish they would have used him a little more. He kind of just was thrown in here and there, and then he'd disappear for a while.
But all his scenes were fantastic.
They were. I like Bautista's physicality paired with Kumail and his unwillingness.
I love the music choices. They use some sticks at times where it shouldn't have been sticks. It should have been just people, like car explosion. And by the way, let you know, this is graphic. There is some really nasty scenes in here, and it's all part of the fun, I think.
I like Kumail as the voice of the reasonable person in this movie. I like that he refuses to accept that this is normal, the situation that he's in. Like throughout the movie, he's constantly like, no, this is not okay.
I thought that was really important with the whole movie. Otherwise it would be cookie cutter.
Yeah.
If he became like best buds with him, that would make it really typical. But they kind of went outside the box a little bit and said, you know what, we're not going to go into the same trope as what everybody's expecting. We're going to keep this guy on the normal, and everybody else can be that extreme cliche of an action movie.
I mean, Bautista was the cliche. He was the John McClane cliche.
Yeah, and a bunch of others.
Yeah. I think you take Kumail out of this movie, it's a real boring flick.
Oh yeah.
He really made this. And, Bautista has good comedic timing. We see that with Drax.
Mm-hmm.
It was good enough to work in this movie.
I love the veterinarians.
Yeah?
I think
It
out
was
of the
good.
whole movie, that happened to be my favorite.
It was good.
Yeah.
So now Bautista also has another movie coming out in a
Yeah.
couple of weeks, where this time he kidnaps a young girl.
Same character.
Same character.
Yeah.
He looks like he's the same guy. It's just same apartment, everything. He just has a fish in that one.
Do you think he'll ever do what The Rock did? When The Rock decided he wasn't going to wrestle anymore, he did a lot of action movies, but now he's still doing a lot of action movies, but he's trying to do more comedic roles and stuff.
I mean,
like
Bautista's been doing this now for like 10 years.
that. Yeah.
He's been making all these different movies, and I
But
mean,
really, you didn't notice him in anything until he did Drax. I mean, that was his big role.
it was his big role. Yeah.
And
I mean,
now
he was in the Riddick movies, the last couple of Riddick movies. And such.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's a great actor.
No, but he's decent enough with his action roles.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if he could do like what Arnold Schwarzenegger did, or unfortunately Sly tried doing and totally failed at. And The Rock.
We'll see. He's definitely pushing for it. What did you give Stuber, sir?
I gave it a 3.5. I really enjoyed this movie. That lull was a little disappointing, but otherwise I like this movie. I'll see it again.
I hedged. I gave it a 3, but as we talk about it, I kind of want to bump it up a little bit.
All right, let's
But,
give it a Phantom 3.5.
Yeah, there you go.
If you're listening onto the radio, it's a 3.5.
There
If
you
you're
go.
watching on TV,
To
you
Ships
know
at
the
Sea, we've changed the score to a 3.5. Anyways, let's take a look, sir. It is, boy, I'll tell you what,
this
it's
was
never
torture.
felt more like summer camp than it does right now. My son is at summer camp as we speak.
It is
It's a whole
sweltering.
it's sweltering out. It's a good time to go out and hop in a canoe and hit the summer camp up. So for our Camp Throwback this week, we go back to 1987 for one of Mike's favorite films. What are we talking about?
Lord, this is Ernest Goes To Camp. Now, Ernest, back in the 80s and 90s, this was like the Medea movie.
Oh, Nora Beanvern?
Yeah, and so Jim Varney, he plays Ernest P. Worrell.
Yes.
He wants to be a camp counselor really, really bad, and because he's a total screw up, they won't make him counselor. But they're getting a bunch of ragtag misfit kids from the nearby juvie.
Juvie Center.
No one wants them, so they give it to Ernest, and Ernest does his best to break the third wall and talk to us and encourage these boys to be great and to give them as much earnest love as possible.
Yeah.
And then later on, teach them a little bit about how to murder, but not do it very well.
He's also going to stop the rich, the big company, the mining company that wants to come into camp.
Yep.
He's going to foil that.
So you have Iron Eyes Cody in here, and I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And he's an interesting character.
He
But,
is. I did a lot of research on him, actually.
Yeah, so did I.
Guy's not even Native American. He's Italian.
I know, but he denied it all his life. And because he did his best to try to show, to help Native American causes.
He's like a Hall of Famer.
He is a Hall of Famer given to him by the Native American community.
I'm glad you did the same research.
Well, it was because I kind of heard about him.
Yeah.
He was very famous for his role for the Crying Indian.
You're right.
For the
I remember
litter,
seeing him in some Lone Ranger things.
and like tons of other movies. And I was thinking, is this the blackface type thing? And it was, but because this guy actually led his life to help Native American causes
valor.
and totally denied, even when his sisters said, "Hey, you're not Native American." They even did DNA testing on him after he died. He is not Native American, but he did so much for the community that they kind of honored him
Honorary
as
Native American.
Yeah,
Love it.
and I thought that was great. Oh, but we digress. The movie stinks. It really does.
So, Ernest Goes to Camp is the first of the Ernest movies. I believe there's 12 of them.
Yeah.
Written and directed by John R. Cherry III. This is the man who was responsible for creating the character, and he directed every Ernest movie and television program and everything.
Ernest started off as a TV salesman, right? Yeah.
Yep. And so he spent basically his entire, this was his passion project, was Ernest P. Worrell. He got Jim Varney as his man, and those two just hung together for years and years and years. This movie's incredibly stupid.
Yes.
It might be the best of the series, however. I think I've watched 10 of the 12. I like Christmas one.
This is all the same movie. It's all like Medea. I don't like the Medea movies either. It's the lowest denominator for humor. It is bad. But we watched it because it's a summer camp movie and we love our fans.
I have a soft spot for Ernest. For this movie. I feel bad for Ernest.
But not Ernest Goes to Jail, which he should have.
I mean, every movie's the same as a guy who he thinks he knows everything and doesn't know anything. That's the shtick for an hour and a half every time.
I spent a lot of times, like when the rotisserie was dragging him into the fire, I was rooting for.
Were you? Rotisserie?
Yeah, I was rooting for the rotisserie.
Ernest Goes to Camp. We've done it. We finally reviewed it.
We finally reviewed it.
We only have 11 more Ernest movies to review.
No.
What if that's our next series? Is just all Ernest movies all the time?
We could have done this when Medea did Boo. We could have done Ernest Scared Stupid.
We might.
No. I'm done with the Medea movies.
Stay tuned, kids, for the next Ernest movie. Everyone's turning it off. Nope. Let's take a look ahead, sir. What is coming soon? The week of July 25th. We have one movie that is going to be on the marquee that week. It is the new Quentin Tarantino movie. Depending on if you believe what a word that guy says, it might be his last one. I don't believe that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Based on part of a true story. I don't know, set in the summer of '69. The Manson, Sharon Tate debacle.
It looks like that is background noise to the main movie, which is the failing of a career of an actor, which looks really interesting.
It's got DiCaprio and Brad Pitt and everyone else that's ever been in a Tarantino film.
And Quentin Tarantino, we were talking about him earlier. As much as I really probably don't like him as a person, if I met him, his personality seems grating. His movies are fantastic. It's
even his worst ones, I'm still like, yeah, it's watchable.
Yeah,
I'll rewatch that again.
What do you think is his worst movie?
Not a big Jackie Brown guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, that's probably the bottom of it. But even that, I've watched probably 4 times.
Yeah, same here.
So that's fine. Let's before we leave you, of course, we have to thank our sponsor. Oh man, I'm going to a movie tonight. It's hot. It's cool inside the theater though. At Marcus Theaters Palace Cinema. It's beautiful.
That's how I cooled down when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My family got hot like this. We went to the theater and we camped out. It is beautiful.
I'm going to go there. I'm going to get a couple of Mai Tais because that helped you. And I'm going to sit in a beautiful air-conditioned theater and I'm going to watch a lion do some things. I don't know. I've never seen it.
It looks like a lion. It looks exactly like a lion, unlike our last Jungle Book.
So, now, somebody told me a spoiler. I don't know. Spoiler alerts. Mufasa dies in this movie?
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for sponsoring our show. If you want to find more from us, I encourage you to find us online. Go on to Facebook, find Real Reviews, search Real Reviews TV, I think. Find us on there. Right now, we've been putting up a bunch of polls about pitting actors and actresses against each other. Who's the better actor? Who's the better actress?
And people are
we're getting a lot of engagement on there. A lot of people.
There's a couple of times where I click on something, I'm like, really? They're all wrong.
Yeah,
They're wrong.
I've really been enjoying it. So if you want to join in and vote for your favorite actors and see what other people think, make sure you're on our Facebook page. You can also find us on Twitter at Real Reviews TV, doing the same thing on there.
Yeah, and we'll probably be all in air conditioning, so you won't see us outside the theater very much.
Not at all. Next week, we are going to be at the theater, though. We're going to be doing our show from a special remote at the theater. Yep. Can't wait for that.
Special guest.
Special guest next week.
We could, maybe 2. I doubt it, but I want to.
It's going to be exciting. Next week, we're going to be talking about The Lion King. Our Camp Throwback will be Wet Hot American Summer. We'll have a streaming spotlight, and as Mike said, a very special guest. Until we meet again at that time, though, I'm Jameson.
I'm Mike Ross.
Thanks for watching.